Hello, welcome to or welcome back to my knitting podcast. My name is Sarah and you are watching Sarah Kate Knits. Today's video is quite a special one because 2025 was my very first full year of knitting. I started in 2024, but I started pretty late in 2024, so this year has been my first full year of knitting. I'm so excited to share everything I worked on this year with you. The format of this video, I'm going to go chronologically through everything that I made. So of course, starting in January, and these are all items that were started and completed in 2025. So anything started in 2024 and completed in 2025 is not included, and anything that I still have on the needles, which is many things. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know how many things I have going, but anything that is still on the needles and not complete will not be included in this video. I've got my laptop here with my Ravelry page, so if I'm looking over this way, that's what that is. Because I've shared these projects and patterns with you in other videos, I'm going to link all of them down below, and I won't go into too much detail about the pattern when I talk about it. I'm just going to talk about the yarn I used, how I felt about the pattern, and then I'll show you try-on videos or images if it's something that I gifted, gave away, or if it's not a wearable. We do have some accessories in this video, so that's pretty exciting. If I made multiple of a pattern, I'll introduce the first iteration of that pattern that I made, and then I will mention all the other times I knit that pattern. Now that we've got the structure and the flow of the video established, grab your drink, grab your knitting, and let's get into everything I knit in 2025. Hi friends, it is editing Sarah, or later Sarah here. I'm just dropping in to let you all know that there is a special announcement towards the end of this video. I will place the timestamp down here for the announcement, so if you'd like to skip ahead and see the special thing that I have to share with you all before I go through all the knits, please feel free. I would appreciate if you did stay for all of the knits, but of course, if you just want to hear the special announcement, it will be at this timestamp. Thank you all so much, and here are the knits. So the first finished knit of 2025 is a Northland sweater that I knit for my partner. I started this on January 12th and I finished it February 3rd. I knit this pattern in a myriad of Hobby Twister solid colors, so a cotton acrylic blend. And he really loves the sweater. It's very, very comfortable, very soft. It does pill a little bit. I think that's probably some of the acrylic, but for something that I wanted to guarantee would be comfortable for him, not itchy, not scratchy, anything like that. I really wanted to make sure that I had a, soft, comfortable yarn. So I went with that. Really the story behind this sweater is that many years ago we were doing some Black Friday shopping at the mall when Black Friday shopping at the mall was still kind of a thing. And we were in Gap and he found a sweater that he really loved, but they were all in really large sizes. So his size wasn't available. And so the dream of this Gap sweater kind of fell into the abyss until I learned how to knit. And I was like, well, I think I can recreate the color palette of this sweater. And we actually created a color palette that he enjoys more. So there's I think there was a red in the original sweater, no red in this sweater. We really kind of edited it down to all his favorite colors. So this one really turned out, it was a pretty big success as a newer knitter just because it's such a large, it's a men's sweater. And so it was much larger than anything I had attempted before. So, but again, it's a lot of stockinette. The construction's pretty simple. And it is petite knit, so you can trust her to take care of you. But yeah, this sweater was a big success. He still wears it all the time. I will say I did have to go back in and redo the neckline. I think I picked up fewer stitches the second time because his sort of stretched, and I'm sure that's the work of the cotton in the yarn, honestly. But also I think he was using a hanger to hang it up, so we don't do that anymore. We fold the sweater. We don't hang it on a hanger. But I redid the neckline, and then I actually did shorten the length as well. I undid the bottom cuff as well and took out a stripe just because it was a little too long. It got a little grungy, and it needed to be more suitable for a professional environment. Yeah, it makes me so happy to see him wear it, and this is the beginning of many, many things made for my partner. All right, next up is the clematis sweater. This sweater caught my eye on Pinterest early this year, or maybe even the year before, late the year before. And I knew I wanted to make it, but I was a little bit worried that it was out of my skill ability as a newer knitter, and I'm really glad that I just took the plunge and tried it because it's really a simple pattern once you read through everything. But I think just the diagonal button band really threw me for a loop and had me kind of scared. But no, this clematis sweater was a huge success for me as a newer knitter. I started this January 23rd and finished it February 16th. I used, let's see, BC Garn Similla, as well as Hobby Friends Kid Silk to achieve that DK gauge. I remember this yarn was actually a gift for my birthday the previous year. My birthday's in December, so I'd gotten it in 2024 and was very excited to use it. So yeah, I would recommend this pattern to a newer knitter. It honestly helped me learn a lot about sweater construction. I think the fact that you're sort of adjusting for a diagonal button band will help you realize how a sweater is constructed with a regular vertical button band. It's just a matter of switching, more stitches on one side, less stitches on the other, and then increasing and decreasing to make that beautiful diagonal band. And so I really learned a lot. I think that was the first time I attempted short rows. The sleeve cap is shaped with short rows, so that I remember that being kind of a struggle for me to understand. And I felt like I was always, even now, sometimes when I do short rows, I feel like I have to do them all. Like I can't set my knitting down and then come back and try and do more short rows. I think once I have been doing this for a while, I'll be able to do that. But the short rows feel like this is the event. We're going to get through the short rows. So yeah, the Clematis sweater by Emma Mayer, really beautiful pattern. That was a great one for me. To learn a lot of skills and techniques on. The next item I finished is the Tiptoe Through the Tulips socks by Stone Knits. I started these February 9th and finished them February 19th. So flying through those colorwork socks. And it's just funny to me that my first attempt at sock knitting was colorwork socks. This is just my personality type. If you're gonna do it all the way. So these are not the best fitting socks. I think the tulips are adorable and I do wear them as like lounge socks, like cute little pajama socks. They are loose on my foot. And one of them is looser than the other. So that's another sort of pitfall of sock knitting is, you knit the first one entirely and maybe you have a tighter gauge or even a looser gauge and then you knit the second one as a separate entity, and then you have a different gauge. So the gauges are slightly different on the socks, and I was pretty sad about that because I wanted to, wear them with Mary Jane's and have it be the centerpiece item of an outfit, but they were a first attempt. They're very beautiful. I do still cherish the work that I put into that. And I do appreciate wearing them as pajama socks, but yeah, they don't fit that well. I knit these socks using Cascade Heritage. I used the color Macadamia and then Olive Branch, and then the tulip part is Hedgehog Fibers sock. I did have a mini in the shade Lavender Fields, so that's a really beautiful, variegated, almost cotton candy-esque looking yarn. I'm kind of wishing I had done a darker base on these socks because you can see the tulips, but the contrast between that oatmeal base color and then the tulips is just not strong enough. So these are all things that were good things to learn as a first, color work attempt. The next item proves that I was firmly on the colorwork train after the Stone Knit socks. Then I made the Luma pullover by Sari Nordland. I started this February 3rd and finished it February 26th. I feel like I knit on this pretty exclusively other than the socks. It was really an enjoyable knit. This I knit in the K&C Knit and Crochet Cloudpaca, so it is a Joanne yarn. So I won't be using this ever again. But I'm glad I got to before Joanne went out of business. But yeah, I used the whipped cream color and then the maple sugar color for the color work, the brown color work. This was my first full round yoke color work pattern. It was really intuitive, it felt like to me. I'm kind of entranced by Sari Nordland's patterns, and this is very much included. It kind of made me fall in love with her. I recently wore this sweater on my trip to Washington, Snoqualmie, Washington, which is, if you're a Twin Peaks fan, you'll know that is where Twin Peaks was filmed. So it was like a pilgrimage out to where Twin Peaks was filmed. And it just felt so right to be out there in my Luma pullover. Um, One of the locals laughed at me and said that I looked like I was going skiing, even though it was like 50 degrees. I'm from Florida, okay? So I'm reveling in your beautiful Pacific Northwest weather. Um, but anyways, yeah, this is a beloved pattern to me. This is a beloved sweater as well. It fits really well. And the alpaca is the blown, like, alpaca is very comfortable. I don't really find it itchy at all. I've worn it here in Florida in some of our cooler days, and I find it perfectly comfortable. So really like the pattern, really like the yarn. My next object is the I'm So Basic socks by Summer Lee Design. I started these February 26th and finished them March 6th. This was inspired by me placing a large order of hedgehog fiber sock yarn on Wool & Co. And I got the Wool & Co. exclusive color Hissy Fit. It's this really beautiful hot pink with variegated thing. And I was like, okay, this yarn is crazy. Like, it's not going to be color work, so I'll just make basic socks. So this was my first attempt at making very basic socks. And Summer Lee is the queen of very basic socks. So these turned out great. They're very soft. Because of the hedgehog fibers being just superwash merino and let's see, yeah, 90% merino and 10% nylon. They're really soft and they do pill and felt. So the heel of these has felted now. But honestly, the fit is so good around my foot, different than the stone knit socks that I first attempted. The fit is so good on my foot that the felting on the heel doesn't really matter. I don't really care if anybody sees that, and I usually wear it in boots or sneakers, so nobody's going to see the felting, so it's fine with me. But yeah, very good sock pattern. This is my go-to like sock base. First time I worked a heel flap and gusset. Heel flap and gusset is my new favorite heel construction for a sock. So yeah, learned a lot from this, and I really like the Hissy Fit version. And then since I've made this pattern twice, I'll also talk about my Zauberball version of this. So again, I use the Shopple-Wool Zauberball Crazy yarn. The colorway is 2429 Tapetenwäschel. Hopefully I said that right. They're really cool and stripy, and I like that when you get the ball, it's just all balled up and you can see there's like a bunch of different colors in there, but it's really a surprise how they fade into each other and come up, because sometimes you'll be in like a really teal section, then it'll just be bam yellow. So I really like the Zauberball yarn. These I started March 31st and finished April 15th, so these are a little bit later in the year. These are holding up a lot better. The content of the Zauberball is, let's see, 75% wool, 25% nylon. So I think because it's not merino, it's a woolier wool, and then there's a higher nylon content. The heel hasn't felted at all on these. So these fit me really well as well. I wear these with boots, sneakers, all that. So again, the I'm So Basic socks by Summer Lee. Fantastic pattern. Great way to learn socks. Oh, I actually skipped over a pair of I'm So Basic. Oh my gosh. The second actual pair of I'm So Basic socks I made was in self-striping yarn. These were made for my partner. So again, knitting a men's size sock or a larger sock. This was knit in the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. So it's self-striping. and I called it the I'm So Basic Kingfisher because the colorway is called Kingfisher, one of his favorite birds, so it was just serendipitous to me. Um, these don't fit that great. These are his version of my Stone Knits tulip socks. They are loose, like width-wise on the foot. They're not too long, but they're too loose, and he can really only wear them as lounge socks. And the problem with this really is that I, followed the measurement guide that Summerly provided, and I think I just followed it to the T, and I didn't have enough knitting knowledge to remove some stitches that are to make it more curated for him. I think if I hadn't followed her stitch numbers directly and sort of edited it my own, they would fit him better. But yeah, this was kind of, I wouldn't call it a fail because he does wear them and they're holding up, but they don't fit that well. See, like we wear them as cozy nice time socks, but again, I guess if the goal was for them to be dress socks and they can't be dress socks, then I guess that's not really a win. But anyways, it was all sort of a way for me to learn. So I do appreciate these sock fails, um, because they've led me to greater sock successes. But yeah, I suppose we'll move on. The next item is Frog by Claire Garland. These I have made 4 of. So the first one is also for my partner. I made it a little teeny sweater that matches the exact same like stripe pattern as the Northland sweater that I made for him. So it almost reminds me of like when I had an American Girl doll and we would have like matching outfits. He has that with his frog. So this pattern's fantastic. I love this one. It is so fun. I don't want to say it's anatomically correct because it like is a frog that is kind of anthropomorphic, but the legs, the way that the legs are shaped with increases and decreases in certain places really sells the frog effect. Like everybody that I've shown these to wants one, and I've made multiple as gifts. The sweater pattern is separate, but also very worth it just by the sweater pattern because it's so cute. You can make little striped sweaters. I kind of want to make little cardigans. But yeah, so that was frog 1. I used some leftover like dark green Hobby Twister Solid, the cotton and acrylic blend, and then I held that with a silk mohair that I just had left over because that's what the pattern calls for. It's really ideal to use like a sock yarn and then a silk mohair with it. It's like a way to use up scraps, the frog pattern. But yeah, so all of that was the Hobby Twister Solid and then a little bit of mohair. My second Claire Garland frog was for me. That one is the same. I did use the extra Hobby Twister Solid and then a different silk mohair. I actually used the Hobby silk mohair that I had used for my clematis sweater, so that mint color. And then the third frog I made was the pink one using, let's see, this is Hobby Extra Fine Merino in Dusty Rose, and then some more extra like random mohair for that one to make the pink frog. And then the last frog I made was for my coworker's birthday. This one is made with, let's see, Rowan Summerlight 4-ply in the color 449 Pickle. And then I use some Hobby Diablo, which is, again, Hobby mohair, in the color olive. Those are all of my Claire Garland frogs. So I think that is my most knit pattern is the Claire Garland frog. So do with that what you will. Next up is another petite knit pattern. It is my Sunday tee. This I knit in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the color Blueberry Ice Cream. This was the first time trying Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, and I really did enjoy it. This I started February 21st and finished April 7th, so it took a little while. I mean, it is on really small needles, and the sewn hems really, really gave me trouble. I know I've talked about sewn hems in past videos. I've gotten a lot better at it. I think this Sunday tee was my first run-in with folded hems like that, and I thought I couldn't do it. It definitely is not perfect. There's definitely some like skewed stitches along it, but the stitches are so small and it's at the neckline and like hidden by my hair all the time that I'm not really bothered by that. This is also one of the better fitting round yokes I've done. I like round yokes personally. I know some people don't just because they can get kind of like saggy and formless, but I think that the ribbing helps keep this one structured and looking nice, as well as those folded over hems on the sleeves. So Sunday tee, I highly recommend. All right, next up is another one of my popular or favorite patterns this year that I've knit more than one of. It's blouse number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. The first one I knit was in Barocco Modern Cotton DK, which is not really a DK. I think it's more of a sport weight. So this blouse is a little bit more sheer, just because the original pattern is supposed to be 2 strands of Knitting for Olive silk held together, which is definitely thicker than the Barocco Modern Cotton DK. But I wanted to keep the gauge because knitting on larger needles is exciting to me, especially since most of what I pick is on smaller needles. So I kept the gauge, I just went with it, and I really like how it looks. But yeah, this was the colorway 6657 Lippet. This design is so sleek, and I've seen it on lots of different people, and it's so flattering on so many different people. It's supposed to be fitted, and I feel like it's fitted in only the right spots. Like it's not fitted to where you feel stuffy or it feels tight or anything like that. It's a really comfortable pattern. And I think that, I mean, using a cotton yarn also adds to this, especially in my climate. It's a really cooling fabric when I wear it. So I really like this one. I did knit it again. And the second one is a recent finished object. This one I started October 10th and finished October 25th. This one I knit in Barocco Bazzolo, which was the first time I've used anything like that. It is a cotton yarn. It feels like a blown yarn, but it's cotton. Let me look at the information for this. Yeah, so it's a worsted weight. It's 100% cotton, but it feels like Egyptian cotton or like blown. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's very like plush and fluffy and so soft. I used the colorway 10803 Spice Bush, and I picked this up at Starlight Knitting Society in Portland when I went on my trip. Same trip as the Snoqualmie trip. We went to Portland as well, and it was really exciting to get to go to Starlight because I've ordered from them online so many times, and it was so good to go there in person and pick stuff out and feel stuff. And this one was just a no-brainer. It was so soft. I knew I was looking for cotton because I live where I do. So this one is part of my venture into more neutral colors, this oatmealish color. So I really, really enjoyed this knit again. I highly recommend it. I also recommend if you do make it to do the I-cord edging at the top, because for both of these blouses, I did it without the I-cord edging first, and I wore it like 4 times and then really started to feel the stretch. So much so where my bra strap would be sticking out. So once I added the I-cord edge for both of them, they fit perfect. They don't budge. You can wash it and block it a bunch of times, and it always stays exactly where you want it. So do the I-cord edging if you do knit this. Next up is another, as you all know if you've watched any of my videos before, a beloved pattern of mine. It is the twist loop top by Other Loops. The first one I made, I started April 10th and finished May 12th. So that one did take me a little while. It felt like a slog as a, relatively new knitter. 3mm needles, making a tank top with cables for the first time. So that was my first time doing cables. I picked it up pretty easy. I did use a cable needle, very methodical, very slow to make sure I didn't drop anything. But yeah, this first one was knit in Hobby Friends Extra Fine Merino in the color Dusty Rose. Hobby Friends Extra Fine Merino is a yarn that I really, really enjoy. So yeah, that was the first one. I've talked about it before. I'll put in the try on video and photos from it. So yeah, that was the first time I knit this pattern. The second time I knit this pattern, which I have discussed before, was a gift for my mom. I knit this one in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the color Dusty Blue Whale. She loves it. It looks fantastic on her. Again, I forgot to mention, I did modify this pattern to make the straps wider because I wanted it to work with a bra. So if you want to see my modifications, they are listed on my Ravelry page, which I'll link in the description of the video. So If you'd like to make yours with wider straps, you can see the modifications I used. So that was my second twist loop top. And my third twist loop top, I actually finished most recently. This one I started November 7th and I finished December 16th. So this one I actually haven't worn yet. I just washed it and hung it up in my closet and then have been wearing sweaters since it's cooler out now. But yeah, this one I used Hobby Unicorn Solid. I wanted something familiar. Like I was just at a point where I had a lot of lace projects going, and lace kind of scares me a little bit. Like all over lace kind of scares me. I feel like if I mess up, I can't read my knitting that well. And so amongst all of these lace projects, I wanted to have something familiar. So I cast on my third twist loop top with some Hobby Unicorn Solid that I had had sitting around for most of the year. And I really don't like to have things sitting around that much, so I thought it was perfect time to do that. But this color is the colorway 27 Seafoam. I do a double knit collar and armholes on this pattern just because I like the look better than an I-cord. I like the thickness it gives. So yeah, all of these ones that I've done, I always mod to do the double knit. This third one, the Seafoam one, is the exact same mods as the pink one. So I made a replica of the pink one in a different color. So again, if you want to know the mods that I like to use for the twist loop top, be sure to check out my Ravelry projects page. Next up is the Pie Camisole by Crea Dea Studio. This is the one that I knit in the Rowan Summer Light 4-ply, that really amazing, super soft cotton. I have absolutely no notes on this pattern. No mods, no notes. I love this pattern. And again, I've talked about both of these in my summer knits video. I've knit two of these. The other one I knit also in Rowan Summerlight 4-ply. The colorway was Seashell. So my first pie camisole I started May 14th and finished May 27th. So I was pretty determined and locked in on that one. Again, small needles. I think this pattern made me fall in love with small needles. And also it was the first pattern that felt like it had really creative design. Like the fact that the whole shoulders, shoulder straps, neckline, and armhole are all just rib. Everything else stockinette is so seamless. It's so flattering. I do have to wear the little nipple cover stickers with it. Like it doesn't really work with bra straps because of the way it kind of goes in and back out. But that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make because it is just so classy and beautiful. The next pattern I knit is actually another plush, and it's actually right here. This is the only thing I'll show on camera today. This is a fox plushie. I guess that's what I called it in my Ravelry. It doesn't really have a name, and it doesn't have a published pattern on Ravelry, but it does have a tutorial on YouTube. So this is by Miho Knit. I totally lied. There is a written pattern on Ravelry that costs money, but there is a free YouTube video, which is linked in the Ravelry page. So the Ravelry page is titled Miho Knit. It's not titled Fox Plush, but again, I'll link that down in the description so you can find it. I started this June 4th and finished it June 7th, so I was really locked in, just went to town on this one. I knit this with some random like acrylic yarn that I had left over, so it's really not that big a deal. I think you can do it in a few different gauges. She sort of gives some information on how you can modify that, but again, it's kind of up to you on gauge. I think the construction of this is really the beautiful thing about it. It's very cute. I feel like all of the shaping that you've done with increases and decreases is really sophisticated. And this actually was my first time doing proper intarsia. I haven't done intarsia since. I've only done like stranded color work. But the intarsia is used for that belly section with the white. So again, there's no floats in the back. It's just you're picking up and putting down the strands. I didn't really enjoy seaming everything together. It's not my favorite, but it was worth it for such a cute little fox plushie. Foxes are my favorite animals, so had to go and do that. My next knit was the June Top Light. I started this May 7th and finished it appropriately June 11th. I have like a sad face status on Ravelry, and this is not for lack of wearing the garment or lack of liking the pattern. It's just for how slow it was. I knit this in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the colorway Pink Daisy, so this amazing hot pink color. It was pretty much inspired by Petite Knit's sample. Hers is not in Pink Daisies, it's in a lighter pink color, but I wanted that hot pink because I was really feeling the summer energy and I really just wanted a colorful knit. I've talked about this before, but this one did take me a very long time and it was not very engrossing. Some mods to this, I did use double knitting for the hem, for the armholes, and the neckline, just because I think I hadn't done like an I-cord hem before. I've done I-cord for the Claire Garland frog because the legs and arms are I-cord, but I had never done it attached to a garment. And I think that I had just decided that I wanted everything to always be double knit, which frankly, double knit's beautiful. So I have no problem that I wanted to do double knit on everything. But I later learned how nice I-cord can be with my blouse number 1 that I added the I-cord to. But anyways, that's really the only mod for this, is that I did do double knit on all the edges instead of an I-cord. I do wear this a lot. I like the low back. It's really flattering and the silk is incredibly comfortable. It can be 90 degrees and I'm so comfortable in that top. So as much of a slog as it was, I do wear it a lot, but I would probably never knit this pattern again unless I really wanted to have a low back tank top, because it just was not fun. Like I was just knitting stockinette in the round for a very long time, like a month. So anyways, that's my June top light. We'll move on to the next one. My next pattern is the Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter. Caitlin Hunter has fastly become one of my favorite knitwear designers. I both love her colorwork and her lace charts. But this one I started June 12th and finished June 30th. So started it right after I finished the June top. It was probably my reward, honestly, for finishing the June top. And I finished that pretty quick. I used Hedgehog Fibers sock in the color Love Letter for the flowers and colorwork. And then I used Rowan Summerlight 4-ply in the color Pepper Pot for the base. Again, huge fan of Rowan Summerlight 4-ply. It is so cooling, so soft. Love it, love it, love the cotton. This was a lot of fun. But yeah, I've mentioned this pattern in previous videos. I love this one. It is summer colorwork, if there ever was summer colorwork. So yeah, I'll probably make this pattern again, but for, someone who had been knitting for, 6-8 months, it was a very digestible colorwork pattern, similar to the Luma in terms of difficulty and techniques. So yeah, I really like this round yoke pattern and I wear this one a lot. The next pattern is the Basic Boat Neck Tank by Madison McCullum. I think she's a little bit of a newer designer, so that's really cool to support. But yeah, it's in the name. It's a basic boat neck tank. I used Bad Sheep basic sock fingering in the colorway Murex. But yeah, I used 1 skein of sock yarn and made this tank top. I knit it on a trip to Atlanta, so it's for the 4th of July, so it's kind of linked with that trip in my mind. I wear this one relatively often. The straps are pretty thin, so I have to like really line up bra straps with it if I want to like wear it to work. And then because, this is my fault by the way, because I used 1 skein of sock yarn, it's a little more cropped than I'd like, but it does meet like exactly with my high-waisted work pants, so it's okay. But yeah, I started this one June 25th and I finished it July 8th. So yeah, again, 4th of July time. It was very fun. This one was the first time where I did do the I-cord neckline and armholes. And that was a good experience. So I realized, it's really not hard to do I-cord edging. But yeah, that was a learning experience for me. And the design of this pattern is really simple, but really classy. Boat neck was really in this past year and maybe the year before. But yeah, I enjoyed this pattern a lot. The next item I finished was my second ranunculus. My first ranunculus I started in 2024, so it's not included in this video. But my second ranunculus I started July 9th and completed August 12th. This I knit in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk held double in the color Pea Shoots. So this one is less sheer than my original ranunculus. I can really kind of just wear a bra underneath it and it's good to go. Very quick knit. Everybody loves the ranunculus, and in the silk, it's so comfortable. I wear it in the dead of summer and it's so comfortable. So that was a success. That color is really good for someone with red hair. It's kind of peas and carrots vibe. So I really like that ranunculus. And that's really all I have to say about that. The next pattern I finished is the Ophelia top by Tamara Jordan, or Starcross Knits. This one I started July 27th and finished August 18th. This one was a slower one because of how small the needles are, but I knit it in a very luxurious Bad Sheep yarn mulberry silk, so it's so soft. But I have something to confess. I have not worn it yet, and I finished it in August. The reason I haven't worn it is because the armholes are way too tight. And this is my fault. I was nervous about it when I started picking up for the sleeves, and I was like, oh, it'll be fine. And I tried it on after I finished it, and I was like, oh, it's not uncomfortable, and it is. That's the denial of finishing something very beautiful and wanting it to just be done. But it's not done. It needs work. I think what I'm going to do, since the pattern is cap sleeve, long sleeve, and tank top, is undo the cap sleeve and just make it a tank top and make sure to maybe pick up more stitches than she recommends, or like for the next size up, just because the original armhole depth was fine, but once I picked up stitches, it cinched it in, and so it's just so tight on the armpits. So that is on my list of things to fix in 2026. Hey, that rhymed. But yeah, there's just a few things that need some help. This one is the main one that I just need to redo the sleeves. So yeah, I really like the pattern. I really like how soft the yarn is, so highly recommend that one. The next item I completed was my Lita bag, which is actually right here. I don't know if I've shown this. I think I have shown this before because I had a whip in it, but this one is by Megan Houghton, or Pearl by Ray. And I knit this in, let's see, I started it August 29th and finished it September 2nd. So I knit it in like 2 days, like in a weekend. Because I remember the pattern release was on a Friday and I downloaded it and I was like, I'm making this weekend. So very cute little drawstring bag with color work. Again, I love stranded color work. For this, I was able to use scrap yarn. So for this, I used the Love Letter Hedgehog Fibers sock with some extra of that Hobby Merino, that mint color. Again, I had a lot of that left over. And then I ran out. So the bottom is like a different mohair. It's a different mohair that I got from someone on Etsy. So it kind of creates like an effect that the water is like a different color. And then I used some random cotton for the Colorwork swans. This one wasn't really like a learning opportunity. It was just so fun. And I love that I have like a little hand knit bag. I like scrappy projects, not necessarily scrappy garments though. So things like this are so exciting to me. The next item I knit was my first Novice cardigan. This is another pattern by Petite Knit. I started this August 16th and finished it September 17th, so about a month. This one I made with Malabrigo Arroyo in the color Pearl 10. This yarn was yarn that I picked up at Pearl's Yarn Emporium in Asheville, so it was a souvenir yarn. And this one was so comfortable. Like, just, this is one of my most worn knits ever. I really like the Malabrigo Arroyo. It's one of my new favorites. It is a sport weight yarn and it's just 100% merino. Very, very soft. It does pill a little bit, but I don't really care. I'll just sweater shave it away. It's fine. I prefer softness over like something that's rustic and quote unquote more durable. But yeah, so yeah. The Novice cardigan is a really simple pattern. I think it is designed for new knitters because it only uses make one rights. Like, it's a round yoke shaped with make one rights. So I think it's a way for you to practice stockinette, like knitting and purling. And then you only have to learn one kind of increase and two kinds of decreases for the sleeves. But yeah, it is so simple. No, there's no decreases in the sleeves. The sleeves are just knit straight and then you cinch it all in at the end. So I guess there are decreases. There are decreases right before the cuff. But anyways, this is my new like go-to. If anyone asks me like what should they start with to start knitting, it's the Novice cardigan. Yes, it's 4mm needles, so it's not like chunky. But I think 4mm needles is the perfect place to start because it's not teeny, but it's also not like huge needles where you're making something bulky that you might not want to wear. It's just a really flattering design for something so simple. So I highly recommend this for anybody who's trying to get into garment knitting. And I highly recommend the Malabrigo Arroyo. It's really soft. So the Novice cardigan is another pattern that I've knit two of. So the second one that I knit, I started November 9th and finished November 30th. Again, I also used Malabrigo Arroyo because of how much I wore that purpley one. Like I was obsessed, so I was like, okay, I need a cream one so I can wear it with colorful pants and stuff. So I got the Arroyo in the colorway 63 natural, and I knit the exact same size. Um, I really just followed everything I did in the original, and I love that one too. So yeah, this is I don't have so much to say about it because it's a very simple cardigan pattern, but again, so comfortable. Love the yarn, love the pattern. The next thing I made is the Berry t-shirt by Maria Solftuft. Sorry if I butchered the name. This is a free pattern on Hobby's website, and I just wanted to get a basic raglan t-shirt so I could use crazy funky yarns. So I used Kelvorn Woolens Mojave in the color 672 Fuchsia, and then I used Knitted Wit Sport in the colorway Barely Tolerable, and this was my like plain anxiety knitting for the Snoqualmie Portland trip. I started it September 17th and finished October 10th. So that early October was when I was really working on it on the plane and stuff. And it really helped with the plane anxiety because it was really easy, very simple raglan. It's a good base if you want to make any kind of like raglan t-shirt or long sleeve. Very simple. There's no like shaping on it, which I probably could have added at that point. Like I'm pretty comfortable with short rows. So like it kind of like comes up on the neck just because there's no short rows in the back. Like it doesn't fit perfect, but it's a really, for the sake of keeping me calm and happy on the plane, I like this pattern and I like this t-shirt. Do I wear it a lot? Not much. I wear it pretty casually, like around the house or on the weekends. But again, it has the memories of, you know, going to Twin Peaks for the first time. It has the memories of going to Portland for the first time. So it's kind of imbued with this special meaning. But even though it's not my favorite garment, it does mean a lot to me and I do really like it. So again, very comfortable summery yarns. The berry pattern is pretty good place to start if you're trying to learn how to do a raglan. The next pattern that I completed was the Frankie sweater by Petite Knit. So clearly Petite Knit is my designer of the year, which is not uncommon. She has so many patterns and she has things for all different seasons, all different body types, all different vibes. So she is really versatile and I do really like her designs. The Frankie sweater was something that I saw and immediately needed. So this one I started October 21st and finished November 9th. And this one I knit in Juniper Moon Farm Cumulus, which is a, let's see, it is 94% cotton, 6% nylon. I believe it's like Israeli Mako cotton, so it's incredibly soft. It's kind of similar to the Barocco Bozzolo that I had mentioned earlier. It's kind of like blown feeling. So yeah, very soft cotton. And then I paired it with my Madeline Tosh DK in the colorway Jade. I really like the rolled stockinette edges at the neckline and the cuffs. Yeah, sleeve cuffs and the hem. It has it everywhere. It's a really unique detail that I really cherish. And this is one of my most comfortable sweaters. It is so, so soft. It's not itchy at all. It's so comfortable. And then of course it has a really nice raglan shaping. And you can see it in the stripes, like where the raglan and short rows are. So it's just things like that where like the design, like the construction of the sweater is part of the design. Is something that I think is really unique and interesting and something that I would like to incorporate into my own designs. The Juniper Moon Farm Cumulus is something that I picked up in Seattle at, yeah, the shop is called So Much Yarn. It's in Pike Place Market. It has amazing selection. I got other things there. but that's for a separate video. I'll talk about that in a regular knitting podcast. This is a very specific format we're doing today. But yeah, the Juniper Moon Farm Cumulus is something I will absolutely be using again because of how soft it is. And it's a cotton that mimics a wool. Like it blends very well with the Madeline Tosh merino, and it keeps me from overheating, but also it feels like cozy and wintry. And now we are coming to our conclusion. I have a very exciting announcement. The last two finished items I made this year are actually what I'm wearing and these socks. These are not on my Ravelry projects page because they are my own original designs. So this is the Secret History cardigan, and if you're a Donna Tartt fan out there, yes, it is named after Donna Tartt's The Secret History. It is a cabled V-neck cardigan with like little cables running down the button band, double knit button band, European shoulder construction, and then of course I did do short row shaping on the sleeve cap that I learned from the clematis sweater. So I'm very excited about this. This is something that I have been wanting to do ever since I first started knitting. Because of my arts background, I do, not that there's anything wrong with, following a pattern or, relishing in the beautiful work of others. I just, every time somebody would compliment something that I had made, I would say, oh, I made it, but I didn't design it. And I just think that this has been something that has been in the back of my mind, something that I really wanted to try. And it's definitely a little bit daunting, especially in terms of grading and size inclusivity and all of that. But I'm really excited to start this new venture in 2026 with my first two designs. So yes, this is the Secret History cardigan. I'm still working on the grading for all the sizes, and then I did find a tech editor, but she will not be able to look at it until February, like early February. So I will put out a call for testers for this cardigan, both here on YouTube as well as on my Instagram. But you can't really expect that until February, just because I need her to look at all of the size grading and validate me in my math before I release it to testers. So if any of you are interested in this, please let me know. Please keep an eye out. I will be giving updates on the progress of the, pattern release and testing and all of that pretty frequently, just because any testers are helpful. I am a brand new designer. I don't have a crazy following, so anybody who wants to test, it is greatly appreciated and you will be accepted. But yeah, this sample was knit in the Hobby Friends Extra Fine Merino in the colorway Dune. Yep, this is all that remains of it. So yeah, this is a like sport weight gauge. It's knit on 4mm needles and then 3.5 for the cuff, the hem, and the double knit button band. But yeah, it's a really comfortable sport weight gauge. This is one of my favorite sort of gauges to operate in because it's not, we're not in the we're not whole body in 3mm needles, but we're also not chunky. So yeah, I'm really excited about this new adventure and getting to work with all of you on it. So again, please let me know if you're interested. I will keep in touch with you either here or via Instagram. And again, I will be providing updates on the testing timeline for the cardigan. The other design is also in the Secret History line, I suppose you could call it. These are the Secret History socks. So they do feature a similar cable pattern. So I don't know if you can see, this is probably awkward what I'm doing, but again, it's the same cable pattern as the button band cable pattern right here, except every repeat is like you skip a repeat every other repeat. So it's not constant like the cardigan, it is alternating. So yeah, these are rib socks. They look so long because they're rib socks. But yeah, this is also my second pattern design, I suppose. But yeah, I don't have a timeline on these yet because I haven't really done any grading for them. I just kind of made my size. So I have to figure out how many other sizes I'm going to make, stuff like that. But yeah, this is knit in the Hobby Friends sock wool, and it actually, only used 50 grams. So you only need one ball of the Hobby Friends sock wool to make the like small size of these because they're crew length. So a lot of sock patterns have a really long like ankle or like leg portion. And I tend to modify that myself because I do like some longer socks, but I don't like them as long as most patterns suggest. So this is actually my ideal sock length is the crew length. So yeah, I sort of designed it to work for my kind of style preferences and aesthetic. So yeah, I will put some try on videos of this just because holding it up like this looks really weird. Like it looks like I really messed up. It looks so long, but I didn't. They fit great. The ribbing is another kind of revelation I had with these. A lot of the fit issues that I've found in stockinette socks are pretty much solved by ribbing because it accommodates a range of different measurements within like one size, like knit size. And so it will adjust for a slightly larger, slightly smaller within that certain stitch range. So I'm really excited about that. Another thing I learned while working on the Secret History socks is knitting socks two at a time. I've also resolved my problem of having one sock that's bigger than the other because I was stressed out when I knit the first one or whatever, and they have different gauges. No, knit magic loop, knit them two at a time. It's fantastic. You just go back and forth. It's like they're one unit, but they're not. And then when you're done, you're done. There's no second sock syndrome. You're done. You have two socks. So that was another really great thing with these, is that when I was done with them, I was done with them. And yeah, you can pull from the same ball, all of that. Anyways, so yeah, I'm really, really excited to be a brandy new pattern designer. It means a lot to me to finally sort of curate my own vibe and look in knitwear. And I'm just really excited for this year to come. I couldn't have gotten to this point where I'm designing my own patterns if it weren't for the study of other really robust, really talented pattern designers. So again, practice makes perfect, or practice makes progress. I am so happy to be sitting here at the end of my first full year of knitting, wearing something that came completely from my brain. And it just means a lot to me to be part of a community that's so based in knowledge sharing, open source information. But I just love the fact that this, discipline is so just communicative and sharing, and we all sort of lift each other up. It's a much different experience than I had in fine arts and painting. So I just am really grateful to be here, and I'm really grateful for anyone who has watched any of my videos or engaged with me in any way. And I really look forward to this upcoming year of knitting and designing. Um, Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you had an amazing year of knitting. Comment down below what your favorite thing you knit this year was. Comment down below if you're interested in test knitting either the socks or the cardigan. Of course, this is premature and it's not going to be for another like 2 months. But when it's time, I will want to hear from you. So keep an eye out for announcements on all of that. Thank you all again so much. Happy New Year and happy knitting.